you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joshua Tree. Welcome to the pool. Welcome to being live right outside of Palm Springs. If you've been watching me on it, look at my hair. If you've been watching me on Instagram and on Facebook, you know that I'm here celebrating my good friend and my sister, Esther. It's 29th birthday, which is tomorrow. So we came out here this weekend and we've been enjoying the amazing West Coast. It's only 105 degrees here. It's hot here, everybody. Well, welcome. We're working here on our little vacation and giving you a show because we have some really amazing people that wanted to stop by and say hello. I'm giving you fair warning. I taped these interviews while I was still in New Jersey. They wanted to come on, but we wanted to give you a show today. So we're here in the pool, ready for whatever comes what may. I want to give you the full update and everything like that. I hope you hear me okay, and I hope we have all are doing well and enjoying the summer. After 180 days of teaching 5th grade, it's so nice to not be there. And it's so nice to be here with all of you. What up, lattes? Hello, Abby. Thank you. The background is beautiful. It is not a green screen. It's real. Pool and everything. We're really here. We're right here. And Joel and Esther are watching me. She's looking right at me, everyone. Like she's right in my face. How's everybody doing? I hope you're excited about today's show. Should we get started? Let me tell you about, well, you know the drill. You guys are the regulars. You're the regulars, right? Here's the week in review. So we had quite the week. Did we have quite the week? We had quite the week, everyone. Were you checking it out and seeing what was going on? Well, what I will tell you this much. Last week, I had the best time at the Meadowlands Fair. Do you see me? Hi. There's my little ones. That's my Vanessa and my Sam. And we went to the Meadowlands Fair, and we had a great time. We rode all the rides. We fed all the animals, including Sam kissing a llama. His mother told me I should not have let him kiss the llama, but come on. It's the cutest thing ever. And there is Adrian, there's Sam, there's John, there's Natasha, there's Vanessa, there's little Sam, all there playing the games. Do you know it's $6? $6 a person to play the game? Insane. Yes, it's stunning. It's really beautiful out here, Christine. And yes, snow cones. Abby, you better know in the UK. Abby is over there in the UK right now. So we had a lot of fun at the Meadowlands Fair. Do you want to see? Look, because I'm ridiculous and people know that I host this show with you all, they literally they were taking pictures of me on rides. Here, take a peek at how ridiculous. I hope I play the right video because it's. Take a look at this. To the center. Nothing like a grown person riding in a little school bus. Good times. I had so much fun. So thanks to the Meadowlands Fair for having us. I so appreciate them. They knew that we were taking some videos and pictures, and they were very sweet and supportive. So if you still want to have some fun in a safe place, that's where you got to make sure to check it out. And then what did we do? We went out. I went out to see Angelica Ross. Angelica Ross, who was on the show last week, invited me to her listening party. And there we went to, that's not that picture, but we went to, here's me and Angelica. We got to see her. And she's so gorgeous. My goodness gracious, she's so stunning. And I took some clips and videos of it. It was funny, as after the show, I wasn't sure she was going to remember me. And she was like, did you see everyone comment about the V8 juice? If you remember last week, she had said that she can get upset about Twitter or she can just have a V8. It gave me life. I'm laughing because I saw Abby say the little waves make these videos even better. Yes, you hear the water trickling and the music playing. Thank you for having props for doing the rides, lattes. You know, rides that fold up and drive away are not my favorite. They're a little scary. They're a little scary for sure. Here's a little clip of Miss Ross. Take a peek at this. good. She's really fun, very sweet, very smart. Really honored and excited to have been there. So that was right before I left. And then we came out here and we flew into LAX and then drove down to La Jolla to see, there's me and Esther on the beach. There's me, Esther, and Drew in La Jolla having dinner. Thanks to Joel for taking the pictures and driving us. We literally went to La Jolla from LAX. We went from LAX to San Diego, went to La Jolla to see the show that is going to change this whole entire Broadway world. Everybody who is a fan of theater, make sure when it's announced that it's coming to New York that you check out Lempicka. Lempicka is playing right now until the end of July at La Jolla Playhouse. It stars Eden Espinosa, Amber Iman, and it's written by Matt Gould, who has been on this show, who you know I love and adore, and it is some of the best musical theater you will ever see in your entire life. It was really great to surprise him. Look at us surprising him there at La Jolla. He did not know we flew in, and that's his brother-in-law, Drew, and that's Esther, and that's me, and we had the best time surprising him and seeing the show. So incredibly proud of the show. The show is something that you need to see. It is going to change theater for sure. And my friend Dominique was there too. So Dominique was on the show as well. She was in Wicked on Broadway, and she's done everything. So she popped on over. And ever since that moment, we've just been running into our best life out here in the desert. I did see Latte said, did you see that Quay ran into Angelica Ross? I just texted Quay that she saw Angelica Ross in New York. And I said, Quay, you're in New York and I'm in LA and we're not here. And how ridiculous and funny is that? They're the best doing what they're doing for sure. What else? Do I have more pictures to show you? I do have stuff to show you. Look at us. This is what we've done. We've just been here. We rode the Palm Springs tramway yesterday, 8,000 feet up. It was terrifying. I was terrified. There's the view from the top. You see all of the Coachella Valley. You see Palm Springs. You see everything up there. There's beautiful hiking that we didn't go on. Drew and Joel went hiking, and me and Esther ate and drank like normal people. And then we went out in LA last night, and that's Brian Eads, who music directed for me at 54 Below, and he's the music director for Les Mis, and now with the LA Philharmonic. And we got to catch up with him yesterday too. So it was a party. We had like a party good old time. We had a good old party fun time where we were yesterday. You want to see a little clip of us going up on the... Take a peek at this. Joe, I'm going to shit my pants.
For the new rotating event cars, the improvements included...
There, it's not the best video. It's not the right video, but we literally, as you hear me curse, as I go up, yeah, I was going to my pants because it was high. It was 8,000 feet, super duper high. You'd be petrified. It was a lot. And when you go over the towers, the tram, it swings. So they tell you to yell because it's a lot. I'm trying to live my best life, Christine. I'm trying. We're out here. We're it's always good to be around people you love and family and friends, and just take a moment. If people have sent me messages and stuff, I haven't responded to many of them because I've really been trying to read and shut off after the school year. It's been quite the year. Oh, Adrian says, hell no. 8,000 feet. And when you're up there, you get these beautiful views and these beautiful pictures. And it was really nice to see all of that up there. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of heights personally. And as you can see, I'm quite terrified. But the view, I mean, can you beat this? When we're staying at this house here for Esther's birthday, and this is hanging outside of the laundry room. And it's become my new thing. The secret, Alice, is to surround yourself with people who make your heart smile. It's only then that you'll find Wonderland. So I hope you'll all find Wonderland, because the people that I share my life with sure are mine. So thank you to everyone for your love and support and for joining me out here in the desert. All right, one more thing that I have to do, which is our next segment, which is my shameless plug, which is not really that shameless this week, because I'm shameless. I am going to be in Richfield Park on July 4th. I fly in and I land July 4th. So if you're in the New Jersey area, make sure you come down to the fireworks. I'll be singing the national anthem at night. So we'll make sure we'll document all of that. And then I will be in Massachusetts and I will be in Maine. And I hope you can come, especially if you're in the Massachusetts area. You can get tickets. I will be in, how do you say it, Esther? Worcester? Worcester. like Worcestershire sauce, Worcester. I'll be in Worcester, Massachusetts. Go to www.jmacworcester.org or just go to robertbannon.com. You can see me in Maine and you can see me for free. Worcester. It's a shameless plug for sure. Thank you. So just go to robertbannon.com because we're adding shows. I'll be in LA in November. I'll be back in New York in October. I hope you all come to October 22nd. And if you're in the area, make sure you come to the shows. It will be a lot of fun. We'll be doing Unfinished Business in Maine. We'll be doing Unfinished Business in Massachusetts, and then back in New York, New Jersey, and LA, and a free show in Richfield Park where I grew up. So thank you for saying I deserve some peace and quiet. We've been trying to have peace and quiet. They have not given me any peace and quiet. You think they have given me peace and quiet? Abby Thompson from the UK says, as a person who lived in Worcester, UK for 4 years, and Worcester, Mass for a year, I'm proud of that pronunciation. See, we did it right. We did it right. Worcester. Thank you, Lauren Smith. Yes, I'm on tour. You're on tour. He's in the UK right now. Make sure you see Lauren Smith on the Bublé World Tour. He's going to hate that I said that, but we said it. Abby, you're in the UK. They're going to be in Castles. And I'm going to be at the Boothbay Opera House. Same thing. Yes. Adrian says that she loves you. Well, Esther loves you too, eh?
I love you.
She's here. Here she comes. All body, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. The show's gonna go forever. Look at her. They're saying she says she loves you.
Oh, I love you.
She turns 29 tomorrow, and she's out here. She got us this place. She's made these arrangements, and she's the ultimate hostess. And I love you, even when you drive me crazy.
I love you, and all your craziness.
And I love all your craziness too. Zack Zimmerman is here, everybody, and so is Bryan Ruby. But we'll start with Hayden Joseph, if you don't mind. Hayden is an amazing. Well, take a look and you'll understand.
A White Claw and a Yeti koozie. Ain't no shame in being backwoods bougie. It ain't fancy, it's just backwoods bougie. Stick a White Claw and a Yeti koozie. Ain't no shame in being backwoods bougie. Rockin' knockoff Ray-Bans 'cause we ain't got Gucci's. It ain't fancy, it's just backwoods bougie. It ain't fancy, it's just backwoods bougie.
All right, everybody. So if you are a big TikTok fan, if you're a big music fan, if you've happened to pick up or go to people.com or Huffington Post, then you may have heard about our next guest. His name is Hayden Joseph, and he's making a humongous noise in the music industry because he's really blazing a trail that has not been blazed as successfully as he has been. Take a peek at how funny this TikTok video is here. And then we're going to talk to him about the serious music, but this had me dead. Take a peek.
Replacing the word beer with queer and hypermock country tunes.
Long neck ass cold queers never broke my heart. False. Ain't nothing that a queer can't fix. False if it involves any hand-eye coordination. One queer turns into a lit cigarette burning into a two queer buzz. That was 1,452 queers ago. I could make a dozen of these.
And I am sure you can. And it's funny. Every single one is hysterical. Ladies and gentlemen, Hayden Joseph is here. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
It's so nice to meet you and have you here. Congratulations on everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and appreciate it. And also apologize if my fridge my air conditioning just turned on at the same time. So if it's very loud.
No, not at all. Well, listen, are you in Nashville right now?
I just got back to Nashville today. Yes.
Well, it's got to be 180 degrees there, so I don't blame I don't blame you in the least. Can you tell us a little bit about you come from, I believe, South Carolina?
Yes, born and raised in South Carolina. Grew up pretty much exclusively for the first 20-something years of my life in the South. So hence the love for country music.
I was going to ask you, and have you always been a performer? Have you always wanted to play and sing?
Yes and no. So honestly, I've always had a pretty level head. I, sang and wrote music for most of my life. It wasn't necessarily super public about it until I was a little older. I sang at various talent shows in high school. And then when I went to college, I was in an a cappella group. But other than that, was really just pursuing like a corporate career path, and went to work in New York City after I graduated for a few years, and kind of realized then that I, really, really, really was unhappy in like, kind of the heart of corporate America in New York, working 70, 80-hour weeks and not doing anything music related. So that's how I ended up kind of gradually pivoting back into this field.
Well, I relate very much to your story. I, at 18 years old, was at Juilliard prep and quit singing and doing anything and became a school teacher. And then it wasn't for 15 years where I was like, I hate every single, and it's not the kids, I still teach, but it's not, that when you're an artist, it's going to follow you. It just chases you. What was it like to make the decision to say, like, I'm done with my 80-hour-a-week job in New York City? What did people say? Did they all think you were crazy? Were they excited? What was it like?
So it was a little bit of both. I will say it was not necessarily like an overnight decision where I just walked into my job in strategy consulting and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go be a full-time musician. It was a very gradual decision-making process, and like a path where one decision led to another, where gradually it became a full-fledged pursuit of this dream, where it started kind of as like, I left my job in consulting and went to work for a record label on their strategy team. And when I started working at the record label was when I was like, oh, I can record my own music and like upload it online. Like I didn't really think that was that easy. And so I started doing that. And then gradually that became like, oh, well, no one's taking me seriously because I'm releasing music, but I don't live in Nashville. So I'll move to Nashville. And then it was like, well, I should probably be posting more on the internet because that's what all the artists are doing these days. And so like, that all those decisions have led to where I am now. But it was not an overnight, like, you know what, I'm going to cold turkey quit everything and start doing this. It was very much a like, step-by-step, ease your way in, multi-year process.
Yeah, and then literally, I'm sure you can look back even a year ago. Well, these past few years have been tough COVID years, but you could probably see it from the journey. I always say, like, day to day, you don't see the progress, but when you look back to the beginning, I mean, look how far and how many things have happened since you made that decision.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot different now. I mean, I used to be thankful if I got 1,000 streams on a song. Now it's like, you get to a point where you're kind of disappointed if it doesn't get a certain number in the first day that you used to want it to get in total. So like it's, you're right. You don't see the progress every day, and it's definitely not a linear journey by any means, which is frustrating for like a former business consultant. Like that is a very linear journey. This is not a very linear journey, and it's very unpredictable, but it is easy to look at progress when you're looking a year back versus last week or a month ago, et cetera.
Absolutely. And growing up, I read in all the research that I read and was sent to me, you've been a country fan. I mean, you grew up, I saw about Shania, I saw about Garth, I saw about Swift. Have you always grown up loving country music?
Yeah, so I feel pretty fortunate that I was born in the mid 90s, because I feel like that was like by most people's definition, like kind of like peak of country music is when country music really broke into the mainstream. It's when you saw the biggest variety, from everyone who was super traditional to kind of like the first generation of these crossover country pop stars, your Faith, your Shania, et cetera. Like it was a very unique era of country music to grow up in. And it's changed a lot since then. So I look to that era of country music of like when the most women were on the radio, when there was the most like diversity of sound on the radio, et cetera. And I'm fortunate to have had those influences from a very young age.
Well, I remember when that Shania album came out, like when the big Shania album came out, I mean, that talk about a crossover, and Garth as a crossover. And then I read about your songwriting and, Taylor Swift. I remember seeing Taylor Swift open for Tim McGraw and Faith Hill on one of their tours here in Jersey. And I was like, who is this girl just there with just a guitar? And I think with all the pop and press and, celebrity that comes with her now, but she's a songwriter at heart. So has music writing been something that's very cathartic for you? Is that a way you deal with your world or the world?
Yeah, I mean, it has been. I mean, like I said, I've done it periodically since I was in middle school. And it wasn't until I kind of started working at a record label when I pivoted my life back into this music space that like I sat down every day and started doing it.
Right.
So it is cathartic. I will say very honestly, if you do it too often, it becomes not cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those writers or those artists who wants to write 3 songs a day. I don't even want to write 3 songs a week. Mm-hmm. I'm good if I sit down once or twice a week and get thoughts on paper and can usually tell in half an hour or so if it's worth continuing or if it's not. But there is something very satisfying when you are able to take a like very fragmented idea and put it into a 3-minute structure that makes sense to any songwriter.
Of course. Well, we had Michael Feinstein here the other day, and Michael Feinstein had put out a Gershwin country album. And he was saying that country music to him is like it still follows the mode of like a melody and a lyric and a bridge and a verse. And there's not just, the world of pop music today is a little bit different and flipped upside down. So I've been listening to your music ever since we said we were going to chat, and you talk about an earworm, something that this summer is going to get caught in your head and that you can just listen and will get stuck in your head and you'll just have to listen to it every time you're at the gym on the elliptical machine or taking a walk or in the car. Congrats on the new song, As Close as I Get to You. It's gorgeous. What a beautiful arrangement and production you have on this song. There's some artwork for it. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate you saying that. This song, before I moved to Nashville, I wrote almost everything by myself. And that's pretty standard. Before you move here, you're not in the room with writers all the time, writing with different people. And so that was one of the first co-writes I had done when I moved to Nashville. So I was very new to the concept of like other people imprinting themselves on songs I was singing. And so this was one of the first time I walked into a room and it wasn't my idea. So my co-writer pitched this idea and I really, really liked the title and I really liked the concept. And we came out with a song that like very much was equally written by the 3 of us, which made it sound completely different than anything I had written alone. When you have 3 voices equally contributing to something, it's going to sound different than stuff you write alone. So I love the song from the day we wrote it. But I have learned about myself as an artist now that if it's not my idea, it is much harder for me to bring it to a full production because I don't have a clear vision. If it wasn't something that I walked in being like, I want to write this, here's the hook, here's this, like, it's a lot harder because, I don't have this thing in my head.
Yes.
So it took a lot of tries to get it to where it ended up. It's taken the longest of any song I've ever had produced because we went a couple different directions with how we wanted it to sound. And what we ended up with, I don't really know what I would describe it as, to be honest, like what genre. It has a slide guitar and parts of it sound very country. Parts of it almost sound like a Miami pool song. I love how it turned out, but it is very genreless. Like country purists would cry about it. I know.
Well, listen, all I know is it's good music and it's fun and it's good to listen to and it has a great hook and a great melody and your vocal performance on it is beautiful. It's going to be streaming everywhere. And I know that you put out and talk about summer. Can I talk about another song besides that, if you don't mind, that you wrote? Can I talk about a fun summer song? Can we talk a little bit about this song right here? Yeah. Firstly, the video's hysterical. The song is so much fun. If you take the jokes that you were making on TikTok before about the replacing beer with queer, but you actually wrote a song that's like a summer country anthem. Like that is it.
Yeah. And honestly, it was supposed to be a joke. So it was meant to be a complete joke. Part of it started as a TikTok of like, personally, I love haters on TikTok because it's great. Whenever someone comments something negative and I don't have any ideas, I'm like, I guess I can just respond to this because I was short on content ideas today. So someone was like saying something along the lines of like, you just like hate on mainstream like country music because you can't be it. And I was like, well, no, not authentically, but let's see if we can make this work. So ironically, the guy I wrote this with, he's also openly gay. Like this song has nothing to do with that, but like we were sitting in a room and I was like, I'm just so tired of like this, like play into these stereotypes, prove yourself, prove that you're like country enough for this. And I was like, why don't we just make fun of ourselves and do something like this? And so we wrote that song and then I posted that TikTok about it. And that is by far the most successful song I've ever put out. So it goes to show.
It's fun. It's so much fun. If you're at a barbecue, if you're sitting at the pool and you are making a playlist that you can find it on Spotify or wherever you listen to music, you have to check it out because it's just a blast. Backwoods Bougie is it's a trip. Well, you got a lot of publicity about your personal life, and I relate and I understand when you had to have come to a decision to be public about it. And I'm sure it was not an easy decision. And I'm sure you had lots of opinions about it. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your personal journey? What was that decision like? And what's the reaction been?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess fortunately for me, the decision was completely unrelated to my music career because my music career didn't exist yet when I made that decision. So like the decision was very difficult for plenty of other reasons. And I'm not going to pretend like it was like this rosy process, but it was completely unrelated to country music. Like I said, I had a life before this. I went to Vanderbilt in Nashville and like kind of came out towards the end of college, went to work in New York City for several years. Like Cat was so far out of the bag that when I decided to start like pursuing this career in country music, like it wasn't even a reasonable thought to entertain. So the only option was just like, well, there's no option to hide this. Like we live in the world of the independent musician. So it's not like I'm like knocking on record labels' doors every day to be like, here's my demos, please sign me. Like that doesn't exist anymore. People are signing people because they have numbers behind them. Right. So like my mentality is like, if I can get the numbers behind me, it's going to be really hard for someone to not sign me. So like, I just have to prove that I can get numbers behind me despite this.
Well, and you do, and agreed. And you're talented and you're funny and your content is great. But I think that for me, at least, I'm a coast person. I'm 1 mile from New York City. I'm in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And we don't look at like, even in this environment, Broadway and all the worlds that I dip my toe into, being out is not really that big of a deal. And then I remember there's a whole other part of this country that's not in LA and that's not in New York, where things are not as progressive. Have you felt or received? I know that one of your TikTok videos is very serious about an artist saying that they wouldn't appear with you in the video. Is this something that you face a lot of pushback back in Nashville, or is it better than us snooty elitist coast people may think? Is not as better than we think.
I would generally like to say it's better than you may think. I'm not exactly sure like where the powers that be are coming into play. I mean, it's very obvious if you just look at statistics. Like at some point there is a power that be coming into play that's like somewhere preventing this from happening. I don't know if it's solely that like country radio wants you to sound and say certain things and like it's just not authentic for any openly gay man to say what those things are. Like it's not believable coming out of my mouth talking about like stereotypical country radio, beer trucks, girls, etc. Like, so I don't know if it's a matter of like gay men singing that isn't believable and that doesn't sell because it doesn't make sense, or because there's like overt discrimination. I will say, until that moment that you were just describing, I had never experienced anything that I felt was intended to be overtly discriminatory. People will say to me all the time, like, oh, your lyrics are so honest. I really admire like how honest and direct your lyrics are. And for a while I thought it was a compliment. And then I started to realize what they were saying was you just write way deeper than most men would. And that is seen as kind of feminine and other than. And so like, but again, like, I don't think that they like realized the layers in what they were saying. That being said, like obviously when I filmed that music video and the person came up after and was like, please edit me out. I can't, this is against this doesn't align with my brand. Like that was the first time where I was like, oh, okay. Like this really is, maybe I haven't heard someone say it to me directly. Maybe I'd like to believe it's not being said directly, but clearly this artist who is younger than I am someone has told him directly that this is a problem. And so like that was hard to hear because it did kind of shatter this illusion of me thinking like, people have made this to be a bigger deal than it is, and I can make it work. Because like, it's like, well, if people that are 4 years younger than you were saying this to you, like this is deeply ingrained and this is not something that can be undone by you and probably people after you.
Right. Well, I know that there's an entire generation of singers, songwriters, musicians, country or not, that are looking for people to be represented, and you're allowing people to see someone be successful in a genre that maybe there was never really good representation in before. You're literally changing, the future of music by being so brave and out about it, and that's a legacy that will live even longer than the music and the videos and everything. So thank you for being that voice to so many people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that people are listening, is what I will say. You know, it might not be me that breaks into the mainstream. Like, it might take people well after me, but like, I'm happy to have been a part of it.
Well, and that and what I always laugh at, and I'm saying this, not him. How many artists are not brave enough to be out in country music, but they just are living a persona because they're told that they can't be free or they're afraid to be free. You know, it takes a lot of courage. So thank you for doing that. And then look, you know, People Magazine comes calling and Huffington Post, and you know, you get your own lane and you're blazing your own trail. So his album is out. His music is out. You can go to everywhere that music is streaming. I mean, there's lots. We could show lots of videos and lots of, like we showed before. But the new music is out. You can make sure follow you on TikTok, follow you on Instagram. Go to your website, listen to all of your music. Make your summer playlist. Make your driving playlist, your vacation playlist. This guy right here is a voice to definitely be heard and to watch and look out for. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like, new single comes out on Thursday. I don't know when this is airing, but Thursday, June 2nd, new single comes out called As Close As I Can Get to You. Playing at the Listening Room Cafe on June 1st, if anyone happens to be in Nashville.
I love it. Nashville is like the most alive city when it comes to music. So go visit Nashville, stop and listen to some live music, and we'll be following you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, so nice. Thank you so much for having me, and happy Memorial Day.
Thank you. Happy Memorial Day. Can you tell how long ago we shot that? Happy Memorial. I was skinnier because I wasn't eating my feelings because school was rough. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. Memorial Day. But he came on and we wanted to get it out here when the new song came out. So thank you to Hayden. He's a gentleman. He's quiet. He's a quiet one. He's a quiet guy. Hi, Miss Margaret. Thank you. I wish I could say I miss them. No, I'm kidding. I miss them, Matt. They give me joy. Hi, Mom. If you haven't seen me here, my mom always says, make sure if you'd like to contribute to the show, you can Venmo me at Bannon. We then use that money to make ads. Those ads go make the YouTube numbers grow. That's why the YouTube numbers grow so much throughout the week, because we start to advertise the show and then people check in and watch it if they're interested in country music or whatever's going on. You want to laugh with me? I had to come inside. It was 109 outside. And when I was sitting in the pool, I was in the pool. Go to my Instagram, which is at Robert M. Bannon. And you can see me. I was in the pool, literally in the pool. And Abby wrote me and was like, "You're really in the pool?" No, I was really in the pool. And so the computer told me that it was getting too hot outside. 109 is no joke. I saw this next guy and I was dead. He cracks me up. We filmed this also a moment ago. And I love him. I don't think there's too much cursing. Yikes, take a peek.
We're at the Red Lobster for the past, I think it's like 30 some years now, which is a level of brand love unseen in our gig economy. Like, that's incredible. And she's been able to do that because she makes sure you tip. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, you make $2.13 an hour plus tips. So she makes sure your table tips or gets the last word. A couple once came in, ran her ragged, and then asked for some ranch to go. They were on vacation, didn't have their vat of ranch available to them, asked for some ranch to go. And my mom, in her never-ending love, before she believes in the Red Lobster brand, says, absolutely, coming right up. She doesn't spit in it. She does something I think is more heinous. She gave that woman blue cheese dressing, which is a sniper attack. That is dirty. Courtney won't know for a few days what's happened to her. She'll be, on the boardwalk with her husband, Brad, getting back to the timeshare they rented to save their marriage. And they make love. Brad finishes, but Courtney can't. She's in bed wondering where things went wrong with Brad when she remembers the Cheddar Bay biscuits and ranch dressing. Hops out of bed in her Forever 21 clearance lingerie, gets to the fridge, pulls out the sleeve of Cheddar Bay biscuits and what she thinks is the plastic ramekin of the familiar white sauce of her youth. Gets back in bed, no greater joy than eating in bed, dips it in, brings it to her lips, expecting that sweet buttermilky delight. And she's greeted by the sour, rancid taste bud attack of Ranch's ugly stepsister. She spits it out on the cum-covered comforter. Cocks her head back to the Myrtle Beach moon. Wakes up Brad, and in a rage he will only see during their first child's birth and subsequent divorce proceedings, says, "That bitch gave me blue cheese!" And that bitch is my mom. That bitch is Patty Zimmerman.
Hi, everybody. Well, listen, we have an amazing voice in comedy today. Zach Zimmerman is here, and I am so excited to speak to him. You can listen to his whole entire album right now called Clean Comedy, and there it is. And he's here. He's going to tell us all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach, you're here. There he is.
Hello. Thank you, Robert.
Yes, how professional that was. I only had to do that 5 times.
I want the secret safe with me.
I appreciate that, Zach. Well, Zach, I listened to this yesterday.
Oh my
there
God.
you are.
What is that? I took that picture 3 years ago. I hope I could still recreate it today, but I'm not sure.
Well, isn't COVID been tough on? But I'm sure you can absolutely recreate it better than ever right now.
It was a friend's apartment who just had an amazing tub, and I was like, "Hey, can I use your tub?" And it was in a roommate of his, it was their private bathroom, and we just like snuck in one day and took the picture. But I haven't seen that in a minute, so it's crazy to see it.
Congratulations, because you're a writer. You're published, and your writing is in all sorts of very fancy, esteemed publications. You have a book coming out in the fall.
Yes.
We're prepared here for this. It's called Is it
with the graphics, Robert?
We are just, that's what we do here, Zach.
Professional operation.
Right from the basement of Richfield, New Jersey. And you this is the mountaintop of your career right now talking to me. You are your comedy album came out, charted on the iTunes charts, charted. What a journey. So my question to you is, has your family accepted that you're successful? Because I listened to your album, and in the album, is this a spoiler? Your mom says you would be more successful if maybe you were a clean comic. So can you tell us, what do they think about all the success?
It's fascinating. The most interesting moment when they started to really take me seriously was I put a TikTok out where I told a story about my mom at Red Lobster, like giving people blue cheese instead of ranch when they didn't tip her. And it got like a ton of views, enough that like people were coming into the restaurant, like asking for her, and her manager like knew about it and knew about me. So there's like this folding in of the world. Like she's talking to her like gay Red Lobster manager about boundaries that he sets with his mom. And it's all sort of, the world is very small and incredibly interconnected. But I'd say ironically, there's some truth, I think, to what she has to say, in that like graphic sex stories won't maybe help you sell out the entire country. But I think people like a little raunch, or the attitudes of most people. They'll permit a little racy humor here and there. And
I think that you have a good balance of both on the album and in your stand-up, because I listened and there were some parts that made me die laughing, that are very maybe certain people who are not familiar with certain lifestyles or sexuality or don't leave their house may not know. But then there are other things that's universal. So you're giving the people what they want, Zach.
Good. The book is horny too. I'm not gonna lie. I had a friend read it and he was like, "This one, the like steam room chapter is quite racy." And so I sent it to my mom, because it does deal with like stuff about my family. So I grew up straight, meat eating, conservative. Now I'm a queer, vegetarian, atheist, and I try to keep a relationship with my conservative parents. And so like that's a big tension and focus. But also I tell just kind of coming of age sexual stories and relationships and dating. And so I sent a copy to my mom, be like, "Hey, before this comes out, I want you to know, just in case there's any huge issues." It was already too late to like change anything. But I was like waking up in a fever sweat, like, should I be oversharing these details of our lives? And she got through a little of it, and she's like, "I don't need to know about your sex life, Zach. You could have flagged certain chapters." And I was
So Zach, where are you originally from?
I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia. It's in Southern Virginia. This mountainous, it's surrounded by mountains, made it hard to get out of. Not the Roanoke that vanished, where everyone vanished in North Carolina.
Got it.
Different
The other Roanoke.
Roanoke. And then I got out and I went to, I was there for 18 years. And I got out and went to Princeton in New Jersey. So I have some New Jersey roots. And then Chicago for a while. And now I've been in New York for the past 5 years, doing stand-up and writing and begging people to pay attention.
Yes. What did you study when you went to Princeton?
I majored in religion and theater. I joke it was a double major in lies. I was. I've always been very. I mean, I was interested in religion because I grew up thinking I was going to hell, and then I wanted to learn everything I could about what I thought were the crazy things people believe. So I interviewed a bunch of atheists. I got really into Buddhism. I spent a month in Taiwan between my freshman and sophomore years in college studying at a monastery. I've always gravitated towards the bigger questions of the purpose of life, just because of how I was raised, imagining hell and damnation and suffering.
Yeah. Well, I was raised, I'm an Irish Italian Catholic boy from Fort Lee, New Jersey. And, I'm Robert Bannon, and my mom, though, is Rose DiMeglio. So I'm a good little Italian guinea here.
Okay.
So you don't go to church, you're going to go to hell. You lie, you're going to go to hell. And then you get to the point where you're like, I don't think there's the hell. I don't know. I still live in fear of it, but don't think. Sure.
Wait, you can be Irish and Italian?
My dad is Irish and my mom is Italian. It was like the interracial scandal before people were really interracial.
So do you drink beer or wine?
I don't really drink, Zach.
Oh, okay. That's the solution. That's how you rebel against an Irish Italian.
That's my rebellious state. And when you were growing up, and you, what was harder for your parents to take, the atheism or the gay lifestyle?
Gay. I remember one summer I came out as atheist, which meant I was going to go to hell. But then once sort of whispers of gay came to their mind, it just shows how much homophobia is built on disgust. Like they at first would rather, I was already going to hell. Why would it matter sort of which sins I was committing to get there? But they've softened slowly as I sort of chip away at them. And I think the culture has changed over the past decade too. It's sort of more undeniable now, even that she has a gay manager at Red Lobster. And I've sort of demanded more from them.
As you should. I'm sorry to ask about your parents, but your mother as a character on the album and in your stand-up that I've watched is so entertaining to me. And I have my own crazy parents, I have my own crazy father, my own crazy mother, and I loved the story about her at the Red Lobster. Zach, I'm obsessed. I'm sorry. Yeah, you have a book and he's great and all, but where's your mother? Because I want to just.
I've told my friend Jay, I was like, will we ever be as funny as our mothers? Because they're just more fully baked versions of us, and they know who they are. She's fearless and can talk to anybody. I definitely get a lot of who I am from her. She talks to her tables. She is hilarious. I share I share text messages she sends me on Instagram and Twitter. I do worry that she will eclipse me, but but we don't want to give a bigot a platform. Don't get her wrong. She's like, she wants to take all your rights away, so don't love her too much. That's what's so sinister. She's like a funny, nice monster sometimes.
I understand. I get it. I totally get it. So now you brought yourself up gay, atheist, and a vegetarian.
Vegetarian. And are you, Robert?
No, listen, okay.
Wow.
I know what you're going to do. I know.
You're turning
know
the
it-
earth into hell through climate change, Robert. You have to stop. Don't eat meat tonight. Promise me.
Okay, listen. I pinky swear. I promise you. Can I eat a Beyond Burger? Are Beyond Burgers okay?
Yes. I love fake meat. I live for fake meat. It's so good. Feels like cheating, but it's not.
And I heard you say and shame the audience and the people who say they can't be a vegetarian. And I get it. Do you know my mom grew up for my whole childhood? My mom was a vegetarian, and I thought women just didn't eat meat because no one ate meat. We all ate meat except my mother. And then it was like at some age I was like, oh my goodness, you women are out here eating meat. And my friends in school were like, what the hell does that mean? Of course.
Meat.
When did you become a vegetarian?
In college. It's sort of it's wrapped up in kind of a darker event. I lost a friend of mine to gun violence my freshman year of college, and that kind of triggered all the transformations in a way. It's when I really abandoned Christianity. I watched a documentary called Earthlings right after, which I do not recommend. Like, factory farming is gross anytime, but especially not after you've like experienced violent trauma. And so then I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a vegetarian. Though I cheat with fish. Let's be honest. I'm eating salmon and tuna like it's going out of style. And don't tell anyone, just between us, Robert. 2 weeks ago, I had Korean barbecue at 3 a.m. in Chinatown. I'd never had it before. I wasn't paying. I was drunk. And the server basically put it in my mouth almost. So
don't worry.
Okay.
Gay God forgives you. So no, I understand, and I do, and I have a good friend of mine who made us have no meat Mondays and was slowly trying to wean us into knowing that it is possible. And I've learned, Zach, that it doesn't mean I just eat carbs all day and gain a lot of weight, because that's when I think of not eating meat, I think of then I'll just eat a pound of pasta, and that's great. But so I understand, and I know that there's lots of reasons why it's better for us all, and it will help the environment. So I thank you for the challenge, and I'm going to sit and think about this, Zach. You put a lot of
one of the last fronts I have of being right over other people. I think that's why I like it so much. I get to be better than you, Robert. I'm
are
morally superior.
And you're smarter. You went to Princeton.
That doesn't mean anything. That's just
well.
For a comedian to go there, it has benefited me in no way. Well, that's not true. I did.
Well, I relate to you.
A blurb for my book, so I think it maybe worked out kind of nicely.
Then it was worth it. It's worth all the debt. I was a poli-sci major, so it's the same. You're theater, religion, poli-sci. It's all the same thing. It's all show business and fake.
Wait, political science sounds important though.
Yeah, you can learn how to be a politician. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I thought I was going to learn how to be a politician. It was much bigger. It was actually my senior thesis project was on environment, and I was like, well, I'll do my paper on recycling. And the person in charge of my dissertation, whatever, was like, no, you have to think bigger, global impact of shark fin soup on the ecosystem of the ocean. And I was like, no, people at Princeton do stuff like that. Here at William Patterson, we do recycling.
Recycling. It has been interesting though that sustainability has taken off in the past. I don't know when you were in school, but I remember kind of a friend was trying to get us to reuse glasses drinking beer in college and plastics. And I feel like then it was like, well, that's weird. But now it's like, oh no, it's like, yeah, plastic's terrible. We actually do need to be doing something, as I drank from my Dunkin' plastic.
Me too. Look, I'm not judging. I'm going to hang up and tell you I ate a Beyond Burger and eat a hamburger and not tell you. So
gay God damn you.
I'm already in trouble. The other big thing through line in your
thing. Sorry.
We both
have a black tee. Is yours short sleeve?
It is short sleeve.
What are we doing? Yeah.
We're going on the road. I'm ready. I was going to say
oh no, here.
Another big theme in your stand-up and your writing is your dating life. How is your dating life now? Listen, he's warned you. He's a raunchy. You're a little raunchy.
A little wrong. I mean, I think I'm surprisingly tame sometimes.
It's
But
nothing that you wouldn't talk about with a friend if you went to lunch. It's
And Joan Rivers said, treat the audience like your friends. So I'm sharing it all. I will say during the pandemic, there was a dry spell. I have stand up about this, but I can donate blood. That's how long it went for. But I've come out. I'm back out there. I'm looking for love. I had a second date last night. We went to a movie. He talked during the movie, which I've never had before. But I feel like I grew as a person because I was able to be like, that's your thing. I'm just going to go like this to you. I literally went like this to another human being, a thing I don't think I've ever done. And in some ways, he wasn't wrong. We saw Men, this like horror film, and he would, when something graphic would happen, he'd be like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And he wasn't wrong. So it was hard to be like, oh, but you don't have to verbalize that. But it was literally us and like 5 other people. It was a Monday night showing in a theater for 20. So I think it was like kind of charming. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Are you going to have a third date?
Yes. I think what's been nice about some people in dating is when they say like, oh, next time, like they'll during the date make the plan for the next date rather than kind of living in that like post-date fear. So I'm getting healthier with my like understanding of like go where the love is. Don't chase after unavailable people. I have a workbook I did called Calling in the One, 7 Weeks to Finding the Love of Your Life, which I recommend. A friend recommended to me, Andy Ward. You can follow him on all properties. But I've been actively interrogating some of my own beliefs about love recently.
This is a whole separate. This could be a whole TED Talk that you're talking.
Let's do a series.
Well, I'm ready, Zach. I will sit with you, and we will be like Oprah and Deepak Chopra, but just
Who's who? Who's who?
You could pick. You could have your. I'm someone who, and this is not about me, but more about me. I'm someone who I was married to a woman and was with her for 16 years. I came out at 32, and then I
got married at 16. Robert Bannon.
No, I was married in my mid-20s. I was with her from 16. We were together from 16. I came out. I know you're shocked that someone would have thought I was straight because I pass as very, heteronormative as I sit here. And so, and then when I learned how to date in the neighborhood at 32 and came out, I was not ready for all that. There was a lot of rules. There's a lot of ghosting. There's a lot of hooking up. There's a lot of nothing serious. There's a lot of apps. You talk about Grindr about how it's bad for your self-esteem. I understand, Zach. I get the Zach.
I'm definitely maturing and evolve. I don't know. We all have these like deep beliefs. I read Attached, which talks about like attachment theory, whether you're anxious, secure, or avoidant as a kid, like how your primary caregiver like nursed you or didn't nurse you affects how you are forever. So I think just like knowing your own baggage helps quite a bit too. And a big thing I'm trying not to do is I'm realizing I bring very thoughtful gifts on like a second date or a third date. I don't know. I like remember things about a person. And even if I don't want to like be with them forever, I'm still like, this is like a cute thing to do. And so I even did it the other night. He posted an Insta story that his favorite candy was being retired. And so went and found like a kind of version of it and had like candies for after our date. Though then we were like deciding where to go to dinner and I was like, I have like a treat for you at home. And he's like, what? You have a treat? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, you're a stranger literally inviting me to your home for treats? I don't know how I feel about that. But I think he enjoyed all the treats.
I'm sure he did. Zach, you you are such a gentleman. What? That's adorable. That's so sweet.
Oh, I know. I'm a little too earnest, I think, for New York. But I'm open to love in all its forms. I'm happy single. I'm happy with someone. It'll work out. Life is long. Love lives in many forms, not just romantic love. Text your friends, call your friends. That love matters as much as your partners, I say, as a single person who wants their friends to care more about them than about their partners. I can't believe you were married 16 years. That's wild.
I was looking for 16 years. Yeah. But and now in my daytime,
I need the memoir.
I wanted to call it While You Were Drinking because I don't drink. So I wanted to call it like While You Were Drinking. Would you like to ghostwrite it for me, Zach? I have no money. I would
have time.
Isn't that a great pitch? I have no money. You can do all the work and we'll put my name on it.
There's power in having no money. When your friends start asking you to donate to their nonprofits, I like the I know I have no money excuse. It's good. Keep it as long
there's
as
a good ending. My ex-wife, during the day when I'm not listening to you tell your Clone of Willie stories online for your stand-up, I am a school teacher, which they'll love this interview. And I'm a school teacher, and the guidance counselor in my school is my ex-wife. So my ex-wife.
I need the TV show, Robert. I need the memoir. I need the TV show.
It's a good story, Zach.
Write it down.
It's a good story. Well, speaking of writing things down, we're all going to go and pre-order your book, which is called Is It Hot in Here? Or Am I Suffering for an Eternity for the Sin I Committed on Earth? We're all going to go to wherever you listen to music or however you buy music or stream music or however people have music and listen to his comedy when he had no hair and was in the tub.
I am growing it out a lot.
It's good. I like it. And we could go to Zach-Zimmerman.com where you can get your upcoming dates. You do stand up. You're all around, but you have a bunch of dates coming up. Would you like to tell us a little plug? Where can we see you?
If you're visiting New York, I'm at the Comedy Cellar and Union Hall every week usually. And depending on when this airs, I'm going to be in Boston and Chicago soon. And I hope to do more touring when the book comes out in November. I definitely will be in Chicago and LA for that. Touring is like surprisingly challenging. People are like, when do you come into Tampa? When do you come into? And I was like, I don't know, when a comedy club there books me, because it's like, but I'd love to be doing more touring and hitting the road soon.
Well, Zach, I have to come see. I want to come to the Comedy Cellar and see you. I have to come. See you.
Yeah. Message me. We'll get you in. That sounds like a blast.
You're a blast, and I'm so grateful to have met you and heard you and listened to you. And you're a trip. You're really brilliant and funny. Your delivery, your voice, I could listen to you all day and just laugh and laugh. So I wish you nothing but the best. And we'll be here supporting him and cheering you on.
Thank you. Those pre-orders, I've been told, matter a lot. So in order to justify a publisher taking a risk on me and publishing a book, and if I ever have a hope of getting like a second book or whatever. So I'm very grateful. Local publisher or on any of the big ones too. But
I'm pre-ordering my copy right now. So
no, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Your phone's dead.
There's a better shot of me pre-ordering this book than me not eating meat tonight for dinner.
I guess if I have to pick, pre-ordering the physical book is probably.
No, I'm getting.
Environment. Oh, we're all going to hell. It'll be fun. We'll have fun together.
Good company. I do this every time. How nutty is Zach? Zach is a character. Zach is a trip. Zach cracked me up. I'm sorry, Zach's a little raunchy. But I ended up telling parts of my story that I never have really told before. So shout out to Zach. Don't mind the background and don't mind that we filmed this already. As I said, we put this together knowing that I was going to be away, so we pre-taped everything. Next week, everybody, we have one more guest, but next week, just to let you know, we're doing a hi, Edelyn. Next week, and thank you, Abby, and thank you, Christine, for your comments, and Patty. Hey, Patty, just let you know that next week we are live with a show about news reporters. We're not doing Pride anymore, and we have one of the most famous weathermen that have ever been in LA, which is his name's Fritz Coleman, and his partner Luis Palacamer are on are doing a really fun podcast, and he was the news weatherman for LA for 30 years. And then we have NBC New York's Jen Maxfield, who's my friend and my buddy. She has a new book called More After the Break. A reporter returns to 10 unforgettable news stories. So next week we'll learn what it's like to be a news reporter. And we have really fun shows coming up, like Nina West and Nick Walker, who plays Aaron Burr in Hamilton right now, and Antoine Hopper from Strange Loop. So we have a whole bunch. Hey, Rhoda, we have a whole bunch of fun stuff coming up. So don't miss the shows this summer. We are live every single week. We have a little funky dates because I'm going to the UK, a little funky. But if you think that Zach had good hair, wait till you see Bryan, who is an out baseball player, as we end Pride with him. He's a really inspiring, interesting story. And when this ends, it'll be a good night from me. So thank you. Check it out. Watch this interview, and I'll see you next week. Next week is a regular Thursday show, so don't miss it. God bless you. Thank you. Here's Bryan Ruby. You're going to like it. It's going to inspire you, and I'll see you.
Gotta be who you are and do what you can. Don't miss living, just making plans. Keep an eye on the horizon. You know the deal. All the best things come out of left field when you are who you are and do what you can. Learn from the losses and drink to the wins. Eye on the horizon, you know the deal. All the best things come out of left field. All the best things come out of left field. All the best things come out of left field. Whoa.
Okay, everybody. Well, this is one of the most amazing stories. I read the story in USA Today, and I instantly reached out. Not only is our next guest an amazing baseball player, an athlete, even though he's from Pennsylvania and I'm from New York, New Jersey, so we don't have to talk about baseball teams and football teams. That's okay. Right. But he's also an amazing songwriter, vocalist, and what an inspiration. And he's using his own story for good. Ladies and gentlemen, Bryan Ruby is here. Hi, Bryan.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, listen, we'll have fun as long as we don't talk about the Eagles, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Giants. We're fine then.
All right.
Well, like I said, you're from Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, from what I understand, you loved baseball, you loved music, your family had a barbecue restaurant. You spent your time literally in between those three worlds.
Correct.
What age did you start playing baseball?
Oh, I've been playing since I was 6 or 7. So my dad was always a baseball guy. He got me into it. I had like a little foam baseball bat from an early age, and would run around playing t-ball and little league, and still playing today. 20 years later, here we are.
And then how did the music part of it tie into it? When did you start being a musician and writing and singing?
I've always loved country music. I would just have the radio on, country radio, 92.5 WXTU as a kid. And sooner or later, I just started to play it myself. I played the piano as a kid, and then I eventually picked up the guitar and started writing my own songs.
So, I mean, I can't, I'd be remiss not to mention, like, you are talking about some of the most American, like, ideal American value things. You're talking about baseball, you're talking about country music, you're talking about being from Pennsylvania, which is, I mean, like the birthplace of literally America.
Yeah.
And then everything is going along. And I don't mean to fast forward because we'll go back, because I know you went to Vassar. I know you've been playing, like, you have a whole giant songwriting life that you have lived.
Yeah.
But at some point, there had to come a moment where you decided to become public about your personal life.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something that I never thought I was going to tell people at all, because I'm gay, and, you know, I've known that personally for years. And as a kid, I always felt different than my peers in baseball and country music. And, but I was afraid to really go down that road or share anything publicly about it, because those two worlds aren't necessarily known as the most accepting places, or at least they definitely weren't 10 years ago, you know, when I was figuring all this stuff out. But finally, last baseball season, I finally decided to post something publicly and come out. I didn't really even consider it coming out as much as just inviting in, like, this is who I am. I do these things. But, you know, I'm in a relationship and I love my partner and he's awesome. And, you know, I don't think I would have ever foreseen myself actually coming out publicly as a kid. But, you know, when you grow up in those worlds and you hear some of those comments said about people like us, it's really disheartening. And I just decided to share my story publicly, just so that 13, 14-year-old kid out there, little me, you know, who didn't have somebody to look up to or to know that there was anyone in the world out there like him, that it's possible to play baseball, you know, and be out and proud, and live the life you want to live.
Well, I was going to say, you know, firstly, you're like, they call you the first out professional baseball player, but I'm sure there are plenty of baseball players who are not out. And there are many people in all different parts of the, you know, it's not just, you know, the gay community is not just dancing on a box in Fire Island somewhere. They're literally in your schools and in your, you know, in your doctors and lawyers and athletes and performers and everything. And I was thinking about that when I was about to talk to you. I thought, you know, I made it through T-ball and then quit. Baseball was not my world, but I was too busy, you know, dancing in right field somewhere. But you are somebody who is really blazing a trail. There are millions of athletes that feel like they have to carry this burden as a kid, or are afraid to be in the locker room in a high school, or to join a team because they are part of the LGBT community. You're changing the landscape. You're a role model. You're the person that they can look up to. And that's so powerful, Bryan. Congrats, and thank you for sharing that with the world.
I don't think, honestly, to back you up a little bit, I don't think I'm the first ever. You know, there's been guys. It's just like, maybe I'm the one that people know about right now because I say this. I'm not the first, and I definitely won't be the last. I'm just the person that you know about right now. And the reality is, I'm not a Major League Baseball player. I'm not playing on ESPN on Sunday nights or whatever. But it's still my job, and I still do it. And hopefully, you know, my goal in telling my story was that I can get us here, and someone else can get us the next step. And basically, you know, the thing that came about after I came out, we launched this website And now it's officially a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit called Proud to Be in Baseball. So it's proudtobeInBaseball.org, and it's basically a support group. I was getting a ton of messages from different athletes, especially baseball players. There's 16 million people that play baseball in the United States, and obviously a certain percentage of them are in the LGBTQ community. Why not, in this day and age when we can all connect on our phones, why should a kid have to feel like they're the only one on the planet like them who plays their sport? So that's how I felt as a kid. And, the best possible thing that's come up because of my story is that we've been able to create this group and start bringing people together. And I've always been a little bit uncomfortable with attention. I just kind of do my thing, and whatever happens, happens. And this is kind of a way for it to not just be about me. This is about creating a better environment in baseball for young queer kids that are growing up now, so that when they get to be my age and they're a professional baseball player, they don't feel all alone. They actually have a community.
Well, it's so beautiful. I was at the website before. You could go to the website, and then to tie it all really together. I can only imagine the day the USA Today article came out. I read that your like phone blew up. You had to put it away. Like someone who's not into it. You're a baseball player. You don't. Your personal life is usually not on display, especially in sports, and your whole world must have just exploded. But you took this, made something amazing out of it. You have a new single that's out, and it's called Left Field. And the money raised from us streaming, and our homework assignment is to stream it.
Yeah.
It is going to the organization. Can you tell us a little bit about the song?
Absolutely. So I've always been a songwriter. The last couple of years I've lived in Nashville, and I've been a songwriter writing songs for other people. And finally, amidst all this stuff coming out, I finally felt the confidence to actually start releasing stuff of my own. And this song, Left Field, is built in a way that if I had, all the stuff that I do now, if I listened to it as a kid, it would have helped me. If you read into it, listen to the lyrics, it's built in a way that the song can provide inspiration, to that next crop of young LGBTQ kids growing up. And because of that, I dedicated really 100% of the proceeds from the song to Proud to Be in Baseball. So we're going to hopefully get some streams, start raising some money, and do some events with young athletes at schools and community centers later this year.
Well, here's this the as it blocks our face, but here's the cover of the single. You could stream it. It's streaming everywhere that's available now. And I know that in sports, especially, I just did a event for Pride Night with the Devils. You've done events for the Dodgers. You're going to be with the Mets. You go around the country and perform for baseball teams or sporting events that have special allocated nights. Isn't it amazing? I don't know, Bryan. I'm 38 years old, but growing up, I couldn't even imagine going to Yankee Stadium or Citi Field or Dodger Stadium and having a Pride Night. What is it like for you to be at these events and to speak and to sing? What is the thoughts that run through your mind?
Honestly, it's pretty surreal because, like, as a kid, that was the last thing I wanted to talk about around baseball.
Right.
So now, as the guy who actually gets to go around all these places and do Pride Nights, it's cool. It's a special moment to walk in to that stadium. Baseball's America's pastime, and we are like way past time for this. To have LGBTQ acceptance at the ballpark, and certain teams are better than others. There's still ways to go, but I think we're definitely moving in the right direction, getting there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking yesterday to someone, and I was saying, you don't want this pride and this community. I'm so and Pennsylvania's close to the East Coast as well. You don't want like pride to be in the coasts and think that there's a whole community in Central, Middle, South America and southern parts of America that need representation and pride. So being a part of baseball and country music, you're reaching a whole audience that I think a lot of the times people forget about. There's, these kids playing sports and in the middle of this country who need role models and support as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I live in Tennessee now, and there's a whole lot of people here in the middle of the country that may not connect to people in New York or LA, but if they hear a country singer or they know about somebody who's involved in baseball, like it reaches a different audience than some of that other stuff. So and honestly, most of the people that have sent me messages, like when I came out, it was nuts. I woke up the next day and had like 6,000 notifications on my phone, and most of those were from not necessarily people like who are at the club in West Hollywood, but like people in Middle America and people who connect to country music. And there's a whole there's a new Miranda Lambert song, Y'all Means All, and there's a whole lot of people here that are in the LGBTQ community, and that community, there's no one way to be gay. You can be whatever you want. And if, that's ultimately the reason that I spoke up, is because maybe I'm doing things where there aren't a ton of representation in the mainstream. And I felt like, if I was a kid, I would have needed to see somebody like me talking about this stuff, at least right now. Absolutely. And I think you make such a great point. I'm thinking about country music, if it's Casey Musgraves or if it's Miranda Lambert or if it's, Taylor, whomever is a part of that community, it's come such a long way with ways to go, and it's people like you. So what can we expect when we see a Bryan Ruby concert? I know you're coming to. I'm at Montclair Pride. You're at Montclair Pride. I know that you're going to be performing at Rockwood in New York City. What can we expect to see when we come to a Bryan Ruby show? We're going to do a little bit of country music. We're going to do a little bit. I might throw a couple cover songs in there. I got a Diana Ross request. Melissa Etheridge, I play bars here. I'm still working my way up as a country singer. So I play the honky tonks and everything. So I can do cover songs, but we'll throw in maybe like when honestly, I don't exactly have my full set list yet for that Pride Parade, but Pride concerts definitely give me an opportunity to do some songs like Diana Ross that I'm probably not doing on Broadway in Nashville in front of a bunch of drunk rednecks, but which is still a lot of fun to play, by the way. But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to Montclair. I got a whole bunch of stuff booked over the course of the next couple months. Yes. So come see me, come introduce yourself. I love to meet people at my shows and join the club, get on the mailing list, follow on social media. We're just starting out, but we're building an inclusive community of people in baseball, country music, in Middle America that are very, forward thinking and LGBTQ plus family, basically all around the country. So I'll see you soon at the shows. Yes, and we'll see you soon also on screen, because you have there's a documentary in the works about your. So you are, you're sharing yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah, I never thought getting involved in a documentary was something that I actually wanted to do, but I realized again the same thing. If I had been able to hear a song, that with an inclusive message like Left Field, if I had been able to watch something on Netflix or, at the time as a kid, it could have changed my life. So that's why I signed on. I signed on to basically create the thing that I would have needed most that I didn't have as a kid. And there's been a great crew involved. Clay Westervelt
Mhm.
is directing, and they have a great team of producers and people that have been supporting me and following me as I kind of go into some of these different environments that haven't been historically the most supportive of LGBTQ people. And I basically just live my life and see what happens. So hopefully, y'all can check that out when the time comes.
It's exciting. Well, everyone, you're going to listen to the single. We're going to follow you on social media and support Proud to Be in Baseball. And if you see Bryan Ruby coming through your neck of the woods in your town, make sure you stop by and see one of his live sets. You know some of his music. His music is charted all over the country charts or the iTunes charts. So now you get to hear him sing it. And listen, if you need like a bass in your a cappella group, you Bryan, that is a skill. Your range is amazing. Make sure you check out Bryan Ruby. And I know that that you're not done with baseball, you're not done with music, and you're not done with speaking out all of the amazing stuff you have going on. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you in Jersey.
Thank you. I will see you soon.
I will see you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
We will see you all next week. Thank you so much for all the comments and commentary. I appreciate you all. It was a good chat, right? And it was a good show. And thank you, Patty, for being here. I hope you can join us again next Thursday. And yeah, he's so talented and he's proud. He's a great guy. That's Bryan. Thank you all for joining me. As I'm here, I'm ready to take a nap. It's a lot of work to be on vacation. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I'll be back in New Jersey on Thursday, July 7th. Happy 4th of July. Happy end of Pride. Thank you so much for being there and supporting me in all I do. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here.